was an unusual experience. I don't think I'd ever come on in any game before, to be honest, not learn test match.
Right.
And so, and I fluked 3 tries after, during it. So it was, again, you take the opportunities.
Yeah. You make light of that and say they're all from about 6 metres and something like that, don't you?
Pretty much.
All right. We'll buy that one. What about the next year? You actually scored one from about 50 metres against the Lions in 71. Yeah, brother. What about that one? Talk us through that, because it was a fair old try, wasn't it?
Yeah. Again, Pontry always said that he had a hand to play in that because he gave me the ball. Well, my answer to Pontry was that I was lucky to get it because he never used to pass to anyone. But he did give it to me in a more situation. And it's funny, you break out of it, and then 55 metres or whatever was away from where I got the ball. I mean, you just set off, and they came at me, and I was just one of those times where they didn't tackle that well. They sort of came at me in a position I could push them off, and I just carried on till I hit the corner. And, that doesn't happen too often, because not too often do they fall off tackles like that. The British Isles are a pretty good side, and they tackled pretty well in that too. But
and one of them I think was JPR Williams, wasn't he? Who was trying to get you, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure about.
So they were fair old defenders. Yeah.
But they were generally, and they were good defenders, and it was just one of those sort of lucky times.
Well, if the Lions couldn't get you, I gather a week later, one of your horses got you on the farm at home.
Yeah, well, I actually, in between that second and third test, Poverty Bay East Coast played the Lions, and I hurt one of my ribs, or in fact it was a rib cartilage that was the problem. And I almost had a right, and about on the Tuesday, we used to assemble on the Wednesday. On the Tuesday, I got bucked off this horse, and it just set my ribs back again. I actually rang Ivan Madanovich up and said, "Look, Ivan, I can't play. It's far too. I just knew that I couldn't. I couldn't do it." And he said, "Well, go and see a doctor and just get the okay that it's not okay." And my own doctor was away, and I actually went to Bill McKay, who was a loose forward in the 1950 Lions. And he said, "There's nothing wrong with you." He really sort of checked me over and said, "There's nothing wrong with you." And that's all I wanted to hear. He said he got in my head and thought, well, maybe there isn't anything wrong with it. In actual fact, that he was. Anyway, so I went down to Wellington, and I really wished I hadn't. I had an injection to numb it, but it didn't work. And that's the breaks, no excuses.
And then after you played in the 4th test as well, and after that, I gather you and Gordon Brown were taken to hospital together in an ambulance?
Yeah.
Both of you were crook?
Yeah, he was. I'm not quite sure what was wrong with him. I had a crook shoulder. I landed on the shoulder.
You'd done everything.
And it was the test we drew, which probably the only time JPR Williams ever kicked a goal. Right. You had to do it from halfway, didn't you? Yeah. Which meant we lost the series, which wasn't it?
Right. And then we go to the UK, which you'll remember for all sorts of reasons, that tour, and I guess one that probably still carries a bit of sadness for you, and we all know because of the Murdoch incident. It's still hard for you to talk about that, isn't it? Or to not feel some responsibility for it. It's one of the big regrets, and probably the darkest moment of my All Black career, I guess, when he got sent home. It was just the way it was done, because there was meetings on that Sunday morning, and things were said and things were worked out, and he wasn't going home. And it wasn't until we got to Birmingham the morning afterwards that he was on his way, and it's just, I guess the manager had the power to do, under the tour's agreement, he had the powers to send someone home, and he had he was quite he had a powerful position, and it was just the way it was done. And I just feel that I let Keith Murdoch down and the team to a degree, and I wasn't the only one obviously involved, but I just felt, I just took it on my own shoulders that that I allowed him to be sent home, and he should never have gone home, and he wasn't going home.
Yeah.
And the manager went against that, and so I took it on board, and I probably never shake it off. Probably, it just hangs every time Keith Murdoch's name's mentioned. I shudder, and I just feel so sorry for him. And he's the sort of guy that probably was never going to come home. You know,
No.
he spent a fair bit of time, you know, away on fishing boats anyway, and he liked that rural sort of lifestyle, and sort of away from the limelight. And I guess that was the finish of him. Really, he was never going to front up in New Zealand again.
How did that affect the team after that, Ian? How did it affect them for the following week, for example?
Well, I think we lost the next game.
Yeah, it must have been a constant source of conversation.
Yeah, it was. We tried to, you know, get over it as quick as we could and get on with it, because we were only sort of probably at that stage about a third of the way through the tour. You know, it was 3.5, 4 months.
Yes.
So we had a long way to go, and we just played Wales, and he helped us beat Wales by scoring a try and playing damn well. And so we had to move on, but it wasn't easy. A young team was probably an average age of about 23 and a half or something like that. Young guys who obviously didn't need that, and so we had to battle on. And I think we did it reasonably well, although the British media, right from the start, were into us. I think they thought, you know, that the fact that we beat Wales, I think that really hurt them, because they thought this is one tour that we're going to beat these All Blacks.
I mean, if that was, I'm sure it was a very tough tour for you as being involved in the leadership of it. But then a couple of years further on, 74, it's been tough personally for you when you were sacked as captain, and you had to take it with a good deal of grace and in private, and it happened very quickly, I gather.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, in those days they didn't tell you. You know, that would, you know, let's face it, that's what it was. And
did that annoy you?
Not really, no, because that's what it was.
Okay.
And you know, guys have been dropped before me, and weren't told, and so that was it. But it was probably the embarrassing part about it was under the grandstand at Athletic Park when they read the team, and in actual fact I thought because they made quite a few changes, you know, guys who dropped. Chris Wiley was one, and the way they read the team out, I thought I was gone as a player, not alone captain.
Okay.
And then they announced Andy Leslie as captain. Of course, the place went into uproar, and I'm standing there. I mean, if I could have found a hole somewhere, I would have, you know, gladly jumped in it, because I just felt so bloody embarrassed about the whole thing. But anyway, that was another sort of part of being an All Black, and just wore it on the chin and got on with it. Yeah.
You stayed in touch with rugby a lot. You've been involved with the NZRU and various other things around the place. Do you still watch a lot of the game? Do you still tour a bit? You've been away with the Hurricanes, I know a lot.
I was involved with the Hurricanes between 2005 and 2010, which was one of my, probably outside being an All Black, was probably the best thing I've experienced in rugby. It was a great 5 years, sort of doing something, not playing, but being involved in the sort of more the mentoring side, I guess you could say. And you know, with Colin Cooper, who actually asked me to do it, sort of gave me an open-ended sort of job description as to what he wanted me to do. And so it just evolved what I did with them, and I went to Africa 3 times out of 6 with them, and that was probably the best part of being with them, having, you know, living with them, nothing like touring, rather than going down there on a Friday and coming back home on a Sunday. And so it was a great experience. And so, yeah, I mean, I've, you know, with my sheer background, I watch everything. I watch everything live too.
Yeah.
I haven't got my Sky. If I don't watch it live, I don't watch it.
Good on.
So it's 3 o'clock in the morning, up us 2, doesn't matter, I watch it live.